So why should you buy the 15-inch MacBook Pro? A few months back, I uploaded a video as to why I chose the 13-inch MacBook Pro over the 15-inch, and I uploaded that video to sort of share with you guys my honest opinions as to why I thought that machine was suffice enough for myself. I also hope that in the process of you guys watching that video, you sort of get a feel as to what I use the machine for, and you guys can sort of pick and choose whether or not that machine would be right for you as well. And since then, I've received a lot of questions as to which MacBook Pro you guys should buy, whether or not you should get the 13-inch model or just jump right over to the 15-inch. I think I've covered enough about the 13-inch in my last video, so I guess I'm going to focus on whether or not you should get the 15-inch in this video. So I have three main points that I want to talk about. The first point that I want to talk about is, of course, power. I really want you to guys ask yourself, what are you going to be using the machine for? I always ask that question to you guys when you ask me the question. What are you going to be using it for, honestly? If it's for professional video editing, professional audio editing, professional photo editing, 3D rendering, even video games, then the 15-inch MacBook Pro might be for you. You can get by with doing some light video editing, photo editing, so on and so on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. But if your life revolves around doing those activities and you need a machine that will, for example, if you do video editing, if you need a machine that can handle hours of footage from a Reds camera, hours of footage from a 5D Mark III, and you're gonna chop up videos, had a ton of different layers, color correction, so on and so on, professional tools, then the 15-inch MacBook Pro is definitely the way to go. The 13-inch, again, you might get by with it, but you might not. You shouldn't push the machine too far. It is good for what it does, but the 15-inch machine caters towards more professionals. The 15-inch model comes with, well, you can get it with 16 gigs of RAM, which you can also get on a 13-inch model, I understand, but you can also get it with a discrete graphics card. And even the integrated card, the Iris Pro on the 15-inch base model, is light years away from what you get on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. 3D rendering is very CPU intensive and even graphic intensive in some cases. So again, go for the quad-core 15-inch MacBook Pro. And even gaming. I know you can buy other gaming laptops, maybe cheaper Windows machine laptops for better bang for the buck, but if you intend to stick with the Mac platform, out of the two laptops, of course the MacBook Pro 15-inch is a much better gaming machine. I've seen videos and I've tested out some basic gaming on the 13-inch model. It's okay, if you play games on the lowest settings with low resolution, you'll get by. But if you're going to be if you want to push the machine a little further, you want to have medium to high settings on some more recent games, then the 15-inch is the way to go, because the Iris Pro is very capable, capable integrated graphics. And if you want to move up to the 750M, I know I've seen a lot of videos and I've heard a lot of people playing a lot of games on it, running high settings, decent, pretty good frame rates, maybe not as good as, of course not as good as some gaming rigs, but if you want a Mac laptop that will game, 15-inch MacBook Pro is the way to go. The second point that I want to bring up is the bang for the buck. I know this sort of goes back with power, but it's a big thing. A lot of people ask me if the 13-inch is a capable machine. Again, I keep saying it's a very capable machine, and you can spec out the MacBook Pro 13-inch model if you need the 13-inch portability. That is, you can get an i7 processor. It's still a dual core, but you can bump it up to an i7. You can get 16 gigs of RAM. You can get 512, I think even a terabyte of SSD storage. I'm not sure about terabyte, but you can push it. But all of that comes extremely costly to the 13-inch Mac Pro for what you get. And I know all in all, with the top-end 15-inch Mac Pro, of course, it comes at a higher price, but you get a lot more. Again, the quad-core processor is light years away from the dual-core i7 on the MacBook Pro 13-inch, and the Iris Pro and the discrete 750M is just a huge jump up from, again, what you get on the 13-inch model. The bang for the buck, again, you can get the base model MacBook Pro for $19.99. It's not going to get you the dedicated graphics, because it's going to get you 8 gigs of RAM, but it is a very, very powerful machine. $2,000. Flip it onto the 13-inch model. If you want an i7, you have to spend a ton of money to get the i7 model. I can't think of it off the head, but it is a huge jump in price. And if you want to upgrade RAM, of course, it comes standard with 4 gigs, so that's something else you have to upgrade. And all these little things just sort of adds up, and you really have to ask yourself, is it worth it to get it on the 13-inch model to get all of these upgrades? If you need the portability of the 13-inch model, then maybe. And if you have the money, then yeah, maybe. But again, as far as bang for the buck goes, the 15-inch is a much better buy. The third point that I want to bring up as to why you should get the 15-inch model is the screen itself, of course. Why, if you're going to be debating between the two, you have to look at the 13-inch model screen and the 15-inch model screen. The 15-inch model screen is the larger screen, and I know on paper it's only 2 inches, but when you see the two side by side, the 2 inches does make a loads of difference. Now, in my previous video, I said that the 13-inch was suffice for myself, but again, remember, I have the 13-inch model, and when I get home, I always plug it into my external display. Before it was the Thunderbolt display, now I have an IGZO display. But again, I always have some sort of monitor to plug it into, so I don't really need the 15-inch model personally. But if you use the 15-inch model on the go and you're not going to plug it into an external monitor, then you want a larger screen, of course. The larger screen, you have a little bit more space to get your workload done. That 2 inches does make a huge difference on the go. And even if you wanted to run more displays, the 15-inch is the better buy again. I don't have the 15-inch. I had the 15-inch, but when you run multiple displays on the 15-inch, the dedicated graphics, even the Iris Pro, does help it a long way. Now, there are videos where you see the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro 13-inch model plugged in with a couple cinema displays, Thunderbolt displays, 2 daisy chain, and you think, oh, that's great. That works. You can connect as many monitors as you can, no problem. But if you're planning to do work on those monitors, then you're gonna notice a lot of drop in frames. Again, it's for people who need powerful machines. If you are going to be using the MacBook Pro 13-inch and you're gonna daisy chain 2 Thunderbolt displays, and all you're gonna do is just browse the web on one display and use iTunes on another display, you're not gonna notice much lag. But if you're gonna be using Final Cut Pro and again a whole bunch of these other Pro tools on the multiple displays, the 13-inch is gonna lag. The graphics card cannot push multiple monitors like that and do all those professional tasks. Again, that's where the 15-inch model comes in with the dedicated GPU, and even the Iris Pro maybe. Multiple monitors get you a lot more done with all that power. Again, that was just a short video as to why I think you guys should get the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Again, the main idea is, what are you gonna use the machine for? You need a powerful machine, and best bang for the buck. Screen real estate itself is larger. Then you might want to skip over the 13 and go right for the 15-inch. And again, the only reason I chose the 13-inch model is because as a college student, I travel a lot, and I thought it was the right size for me. The 13-inch. The machine was powerful enough for me. It got me by just fine. But if there's a whole bunch of different people out there. You ask yourself, what are you gonna use it for? I'm Len from TechShift, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys have a nice one. See ya.